Temple Beth Sholom, celebrating 50 years, proudly presents The Power of Vision.
Hello, I'm Linda Weisberg, President of Temple Beth Sholom during our 50th anniversary celebration. It is our privilege and pleasure to present this tribute to our past and to dedicate it to our future.
This is the story of Temple Beth Sholom of Santa Ana, California. It's about a dream that became a reality through the dedication and determination of several generations of Jews.
Look within yourself and to be certain that you want Judaism to continue, and particularly to have it available for your children. And if that's the case, then you have to put forth effort on your own behalf and for them.
When and how did it all begin? Records show at least 2 Jews among the founders of Anaheim. Jewish merchants had been established since 1872, and when Orange County was formed in 1889, Santa Ana became the county seat. By 1913, families living in the area unsuccessfully tried to hold regular services. In the 1920s, other attempts were made, but none were long-lasting.
The B'nai B'rith seems to have been the nucleus or the little hub of helping them get this together.
The Jewish population grew during World War II. In late 1943, 28 people living in Santa Ana and other nearby cities met at the home of Frank and Miriam Schaffel to plan regular Sabbath worship services. Some of the families of these early visionaries are still active in our congregation today. A tradition was begun when Jewish armed service personnel stationed in the area were also invited to attend. Later, the congregation voted to rent facilities in downtown Santa Ana at the Ebel Club. The members did everything they could to raise money for their own building, and by the spring of 1944, they were able to buy a Unitarian church on 8th and Bush. How they worked to turn it into a temple. Dues were raised to $25 a year.
8th and Bush was a small temple, and one of the stories I like to relate is how we paid one of the first rabbis. We paid him by passing the hat, and whatever we got, that was his salary.
Everyone volunteered time, talent, and materials to prepare for and greet the High Holy Days.
But it was a very close-knit family. Everybody helped, and we needed help, we got it.
In 1947, the congregation affiliated with the Union of American Hebrew Congregations. In 1949, the membership grew to 70 families, and they purchased a house next to the temple building. Soon it was converted into an educational center and social hall.
It was after the war, and we're all getting resettled. And the temple became a center of our activity, and it was mostly social.
The 50s were years of growth for the community and the congregation. The procession of rabbis continued, and in 1957, Morton Fearman became our spiritual leader. Harvey Goldstein, our well-remembered cantor, served in many capacities, as did his wife, Bertie. Many groups, such as the Young Matrons Club, Young Men's Club, Sisterhood, Brotherhood, and Couples Club, all kept the members busy. The Temple Youth had many programs of their own.
If you didn't belong to the Temple or the youth groups in Orange County in the 50s and 60s, you probably weren't going to have much affiliation with other Jewish kids.
Friday night services began at 9 p.m. because most of the congregation were merchants who worked late. Everyone joined the fun at the annual Yom Kippur Night Ball, the New Year's Eve dinner dance, the Temple Picnic, and many wonderful musicals. In 1953, the board realized the facilities would soon be outgrown, so they purchased a plot of land in a new area on Memory Lane. This was outgrown before construction even started. As more people joined, they bought a 5-acre site in the orange groves bordering Tustin, Orange, and Santa Ana. What a debt we all owe today to their foresight and devotion.
No matter where we've lived since '52, we've always had Temple Beth Sholom has always been our home. And there's just a feeling of belonging here.
In 1960, the board announced that the long-awaited new building was about to become a reality. In November of that year, over 300 people witnessed the groundbreaking ceremony. The first Friday night services took place the following September, after the Torahs had been proudly carried through the city streets from 8th and Bush to Tustin and Fairhaven. In January of 1962, a beautiful dedication weekend was held. The performance of Top Billing inaugurated the new stage. The Sisterhood Catering Circle worked hard to ensure all the big events ran smoothly.
Bertie Goldstein, Mary Klatzker, and myself, we were involved in every aspect of the fun part of music for this congregation. To this day, I cannot sing a song straight because we've written so many parodies through the years.
Then in 1966 came another new building. Rabbi Robert Bergman, along with many dignitaries, all participated in the dedication of the Center for Living Judaism, otherwise known as the Little Round Schoolhouse with the Big Round Rabbi. In 1968, the Bema was completed and the sanctuary was decorated. As renovations took place, what always remained the same was our commitment to be united and strong in the cause of Judaism. The summer of 1971 brought Frank and Cookie Stern to Temple Beth Sholom as Rabbi and Rebbitzin.
When I think back to the very first days of my coming to Temple Beth Sholom and thinking back to yesterday and today being here, which is spanning over 20 years, the same theme runs through, and that's that this is a congregation made up of very warm and caring and special people.
During the 1970s, Temple Beth Sholom expanded and deepened its commitment to a quality Jewish education program to keep pace with the needs of its congregation. Both Orange County and Temple Beth Sholom reflected a new pool of professional and technical talent as physicians, lawyers, engineers, and high-tech specialists in every industry flocked to this area. Some of the life cycle events that became traditions at our temple during the 70s were summers at Camp Shalom, the Purim Carnival, and other holiday festivals.
And I think the fun was, again, getting all the kids involved with it and showing some having them participate and having responsibilities towards the temple and showing them what it was like to start working for a temple at a young age.
Where we invited kids from all over Southern California from the other youth groups, and we had a friendship circle at the end of the weekend where the teenagers were shoulder to shoulder and right up against the walls of the social hall, because we had that many kids here celebrating their Judaism.
In January of 1976, we dedicated a new Torah for our Ark. At a unique Torah completion ceremony, our scribe completed the last letters of the Torah under the watchful eyes of congregant family sponsors. After a series of successful shows, in 1979, Len Goodman directed the show of the decade. Temple Beth Sholom Showboat presents Variety 79, a musical cruise down memory lane, which featured 30 acts and the talents of over 50 temple members of all ages. In 1982 and 83, the Sanctuary Refurbishment Committee led us to remodel the sanctuary in order to lower the rabbi and raise the congregation so we could all look eye to eye. A new ark was designed and constructed to reinforce the arch motif used on the exterior of the religious school building and to suggest a heavenly presence guarding the Torahs within the ark. During the 80s, we had the busiest bar and bat mitzvah schedule in our history. The the majority of Shabbat celebrated not one but two simchas as our children attained their spiritual majority.
For me, the important things are the young people, that they are keeping their Judaism and they don't stray away and come to the temple. That is very important.
Confirmation classes numbered over 30 10th graders as a rule, and we continued making renovations. The vehicle for those changes was a new endeavor called Project Pride, whose goal was to bring to our well-used facility a new image of beauty and pride through voluntary gifts. Phase 1 of that project was to remodel the social hall and surrounding interior areas. Down came the ceiling and the stage. The graceful arch motif was used to create a bright, open, glass-walled foyer. This new social hall was dedicated in 1987. Our pride extended from these structural changes to an appreciation of our three-generation families and other members of long standing. In 1988, the Chai Society sponsored a weekend of celebration honoring those who had been congregants for 18 years or more.
We are really very, very proud of our members of long standing. You know, with the 3 and 4 and 5 generations, I think we ended up with something like 37 families. I mean, that's absolutely unheard of in Orange County or even in Southern California.
The summer of 1991 brought Rabbi Shelton Donnell as our new spiritual leader, along with his wife, Wendy Bukarski, all the way from Los Angeles. Within months, we held the first special event of the year, a lively, fun-filled Sukkot Country Fair, conceived by Rabbi Donnell and sponsored by Sisterhood. Project Pride 2 was initiated with the goal of renovating and landscaping the temple grounds. This second phase was to include construction of 3 plazas and a new sukkah, in addition to a large back lawn and expanded parking lots. A new sanctuary building facade along the Tustin Avenue entry and adjacent windows extended the arch motif from the interior.
From the sanctuary, I think, is where all of your spirituality, the heart and soul of the institution flows. But I think the exterior also reflects something of the inner strength. So I think that one has to go hand in hand with the other.
In the religious school, new entries, playgrounds, and wrought iron fences were also constructed.
Going to Sunday school and Hebrew school, some of the things that the teachers say, they make me realize how special being different from other kids at school is, and I've grown to like that.
Over 500 congregants and community members helped us celebrate achieving all these goals at the beautiful temple rededication ceremony held in 1992. And today, we're proud. What will the future bring? Each of us holds the keys to our congregation's future goals, dreams, and success.
We are now, I believe, the largest Reform congregation in the county, and I see a bright future for us in our temple.
And I think that the lifeblood of this congregation is to have the children of our generation now the members.
This is our entire life, and I'd like to see it go for another 50 years, 100 years, why not?
We really want to stay in touch with what people have on their minds and what's important to them, while reminding them continually for the future that we have to remain tied to our original roots as well, our heritage, our spirituality, and the things that make Jewish life very special, very unique, and very much Temple Beth Sholom.
This is what makes a temple great, the congregation.
We definitely want to keep our youth groups active and give kids opportunities to become part of not only the social fabric of our temple, but the social fabric of our communities. More kids are involved in these things, the more they'll understand the issues that are important to us as being Jews.
Back in the old days, the temple was our social life as well as our religious experience, and today I understand time restraints on people and the traveling around and so forth make it more difficult for the same kind of involvement. But we still have involvement from our members, and it's a joy to behold, to watch the way they too are getting into the act, as the old saying goes.
You know, I think we're really fortunate to have tremendous individual talent throughout the congregation. And it seems when we need the talent, when we need the people, they come forward.
What I'd like to see in the future?
The past 50 years have been years of enormous pride and satisfaction for us as a congregation. Our pioneers and builders began with a vision and a dream of what could be here in Orange County for the Jewish community. And for us, as we look to the next 50 years to complete our first century as a congregation, we need to take the best of those dreams and visions and build upon them. But we are also challenged to create new visions for ourselves and for our children, and to leave them with the precious legacy that was left to us as we build tomorrow together.